Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
For a big surprise. You go down in the woods today. Shut up! I swear to you, I'm gonna get the hose again, Chad and Simone, if you don't be quiet.
Jess, where are you?
Oh, I'm right here.
Oh, there you are.
Hi.
God, the Chad and Simone's Fresh Tomatoes compound is huge.
Yes, it is. It's enormous.
Where are they? I've been looking everywhere for them.
I don't know. I thought I heard them, but it must have just been something down the hall.
Oh, that's weird. Their cars are still here.
Huh. Yeah, I have no idea where they are.
Hey, Chad, Simone? Hello?
Hello.
Oh, that's weird. The four of us were supposed to get together here for this Halloween Fresh Tomatoes podcast.
Yeah.
I guess...
I mean, you'd think they'd be here to greet us, but...
I mean, we've got 2 minutes. Maybe, do you think we should start? Is it
Why
totally
not?
rude to just take over someone's show?
No, I don't think. I mean, they'll come in when they're ready. You know.
All right, well, we're supposed to be doing this crossover where we come in and we take over one of the Robots Radio Network podcasts. Chad and Simone had some adventures in Appalachia, I understand, and well, we're just going to talk about some movies. You know what? I guess we can just start, and I'm sure they'll show up at some point.
Yeah,
Let me get
good.
Chad needs to clean his desk here.
What's sticky on the floor?
I
won't ask.
think it's wine.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I mean, I don't know what other bodily fluid could be sticky and red. Unless...
Oh.
Is that blood?
I don't... It looks kind of dark, so I'm not sure. The difference between spilled red wine and blood is... Your guess is as good as mine.
You know what? This is fine. Let's just...
Okay.
We got... all right. You're ready here. All right, 15 seconds. Hello and welcome to the Fresh Tomatoes podcast. I am not Chad, nor am I Simone. I don't know. I don't even sound like Simone or Chad, to be honest.
I don't even think I do. No.
Yeah,
no?
Neither one of us do.
Okay.
My name is Kenneth Vigue.
My name is Jessica Duval.
And we are taking over the Fresh Tomatoes podcast for Halloween. We're doing a special crossover with Chad and Simone from Fresh Tomatoes podcast here. And Jessica and I do a little bit different a story, but for Halloween, we're doing a crossover where everyone switches shows. So we decided to switch with Chad and Simone. They, I understand, are going to be having an adventure in Appalachia with us in the world of Fallout 76. So if you want to hear what they get up to, we'll be dropping that in our podcast feed on Halloween. And I'll put a link to the show notes here for you. We're supposed to be here with Chad and Simone, but they...
mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah, we're not sure where they are. So we'll just... You know what? We'll just dive in here. As you know from Chad and Simone, the Fresh Tomatoes podcast is going to take a new look, some optimistic eyes at some of the most notorious pieces of garbage that ever materialized on film. And most recently, just last week, in fact, Jessica and I hosted a lovely Halloween drive-in in our Fallout 76 video game world, where in the video game I constructed a camp that looks like a drive-in. And through the magic of computers, I created a drive-in experience. So I picked two pieces of crap that we watched.
One crappier than the other.
Really, though? Really, Jess?
You know what? I'm going to go with door number 2 on the movie selection because, I have a soft spot for really bad sci-fi, so...
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's go out of order then. Let's start with Plan 9.
Okay.
So we watched Plan 9 for Outer Space. That was the second movie that we saw. And if you're not familiar with that movie, that was a 1959 picture. It came out for summer 1959, July 22nd to be precise. And it was created by none other than notorious Hollywood B-movie character, Edward Wood.
That eccentric bag of crazy.
Eccentric, beautiful man. Speaking of movies, if you ever get the chance to watch Johnny Depp in the movie Ed Wood, I cannot recommend that movie enough. It is so good.
Same. I absolutely love that movie. Tim Burton just did a whirlwind of wonderfulness with that movie, and that actually made me watch Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Exactly.
And I fell in love with it. Yep.
And Martin Landau, who played Bela Lugosi in that,
Yes.
the late Martin Landau, was so good in that role. When he just deadpan says to Ed Wood, "No one gives a fuck about Bella."
Yes. He did amazing. He did so amazing in that role.
Pull the strings.
Yeah, pull the strings.
I love when he has the temper tantrum.
Yes. Oh, yes. I love Johnny Depp as Ed Wood. He's just magic. I mean, it's just magical. I mean, I know that Johnny Depp has a lot of character actor, but he just does this Ed Wood character so wonderfully.
Yeah, he really does.
My favorite is when he takes out his teeth and he starts just casually talking with his front teeth missing.
Yes.
That was the best.
Well, 1959's Plan 9 from Outer Space is a really unique piece of film. And if anything, taking a look at the Rotten Tomatoes, it's rated 67% on the tomato meter with a 46% audience score. On IMDb, it has 4 out of 10 stars.
Which is technically not bad.
I guess not. I mean, out of all of the movies that he did, this one, I guess, is so bad that it's just charming.
Yes. Extremely underrated, in my opinion.
Completely. In fact, after it was kind of an obvious colossal failure, it didn't do well. But it gained of a cult notoriety starting in the 80s when it was dubbed by 2 authors, Harry Medved and Michael Medved, who dubbed it the worst film ever made in their book, The Golden Turkey Awards. In fact, Wood was given 2 awards for worst director ever and worst film ever.
Wow.
Yeah, and ironically enough, right here, it says that it is the epitome of so bad it's good cinema, and I completely agree with that.
Yes. Yeah. No, I completely agree with that as well. That sounds right for that movie.
This movie also had a really weird backstory, that is really chronicled really well in the movie Ed Wood, in terms of how it's made. And I've got some really bizarre facts that will blow your mind a little bit. First of which is it was Bela Lugosi's last movie. When we were watching it, there's some scenes, and I kept bringing down everyone because we were having a lot of fun, but I love classic Hollywood monster movies, and Bela Lugosi was really hands down the most iconic method actor, certainly of his age. He brought such a stage presence to Dracula, and created so many of the tropes that are still copied today as vampires go, with the stare, and the leering, that presence, that loom, and also the commanding voice, that kind of really Romanian accent that just rolls off the tongue and is both seductive and terrifying at the same time.
Yes.
Like he brought all of that to the stage, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, with Bela Lugosi, I mean, he's one of the icons of, Boris Karloff's Frankenstein, and he's one of those, with the Swamp Thing, like he's the major monster role person, and he did have a very commanding presence and my favorite part of it is how they would only light his eyes. That was always my favorite, and that's been mimicked so many times. I mean, I have to say one of the other best ones where they do that with the lighting of the eyes is Morticia from the Addams Family. They did. Right. They did it like just using that. It brings that cinematic. Just this person is evil, just by the lighting of their eyes. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, he developed a really unusual friendship with Ed Wood, who was obviously a huge fan of his. And shortly after they began their friendship, Ed Wood cast him in his 1953 film Glenn or Glenda, which that we could talk at length about that particular movie.
Oh, we should do that movie.
If nothing, and we should do that movie in the drive-in.
Yes.
For one thing, that movie was way ahead of its time. Like,
yes, it was.
You want to talk about something but it also is like the most bizarre art house movie I have ever seen in my life. Like,
can you imagine what reactions they're going to have? Don't even tell them what movie. Don't even tell them this is the movie we're watching.
Yeah, I mean, they were probably like, what the fuck is this? When Bela Lugosi, it just cuts back and forth with him like, pull the strings.
Yes, pull the strings.
Walking through their lives. He's doing this kind of creepy, omniscient, like, I don't even know what kind of, But he just wanted to give him a role.
Yes.
And Wood would continue giving him roles. Plan 9 from Outer Space was supposed to really highlight and feature him. Unfortunately, Lugosi had both a heart condition and a notorious drug habit, and he passed away not too long after the movie started production on August 16th, 1956. It was it's unclear the footage that he included of Lugosi in Plan 9 from Outer Space, if that was originally shot for a movie that he was going to make called The Vampire's Tomb with Lugosi, or if he'd intended that to just be for Plan 9 from Outer Space. That's one thing that even historians aren't too clear on, but at any rate, Lugosi passed away, and his role for the remaining scenes in the movie was kind of posthumously played by another fellow, I think was a chiropractor.
I loved the whole thing in the movie too, in Ed Wood, where they were trying to find him, and then he's like, "Wait, put your arm up." Yep, that's him.
And he looked enough like Lugosi from like just the eye level up.
Yes.
That he could just cover his face with a cape.
And that's all they did with him. And you definitely could tell, but at the same time, it was a good stand-in. But you could tell it wasn't Bella. Like,
I mean, how many times? Like, there's probably like 30 seconds of footage of Lugosi in that survived in the whole movie. And throughout the movie,
it was
just
him
kept
running
cutting.
in and out of the house.
It was the same footage, like used 2 or 3 times. Like it's him going in and out of the house, and then it's him going to the graveyard in the cape. He just gets there and leaves again. It's like, what?
What's happening?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, that had more of a cohesive, I understand what's going on, other than the other one we'll be getting into. But right now, we'll stick with Plan 9.
So I put together what the plot of that is, and I've got a wild-ass story to tell you. Which is why I'm saving that one for last. Because when I looked into how this movie was made, it's going to blow your mind.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it was chiropractor Tom Mason who played as Lugosi's double.
Okay.
The other interesting thing about this movie that's covered really well in the movie Ed Wood, the original title of Plan 9 from Outer Space was going to be Grave Robbers from Outer Space. But in order for Wood to get his movie off the ground, he needed funding. He couldn't find funding from anywhere. No studio would touch this thing. So he ended up getting the movie funded by a really, really devout Southern Baptist fellow named J. Edward Reynolds. And the way that Wood kind of fools them into making this movie is hilarious. But every now and then they would put their foot down. They were so offended by the title of the movie, of grave robbing in general, they made him change it. And then Wood and other members of the cast went into doing a full body baptism. At his,
Oh, yes.
At his
Yes,
church
I remember
in the swimming
that.
pool.
Yes, I remember that.
So Tor Johnson, who is this looming, leering figure, was a wrestler that Ed Wood got to play one of the characters. And I do have to say, when we saw the movie last week, because it was the first time I've ever seen it, he was cast perfectly. In that makeup with those dead eyes.
He is an amazing zombie.
He was terrifying.
Yeah.
He's like,
he was great.
He looked like he was like 10 feet tall. He like dwarfs everybody in the scenes. It was amazing. But when they were getting baptized, Tor Johnson was so irritated about having to do this that he pranked the minister by pretending to drown in the middle of the ceremony.
Why doesn't that surprise me in the slightest?
I mean,
that just sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I'd be like,
oh wow!
So Plan 9 from Outer Space, basically, aliens. Oh, God, I had to read. Extraterrestrials basically want to stop humanity from creating a doomsday weapon that could destroy the universe. And so these aliens come to Earth to execute Order 66, Plan 9, as opposed to just, evaporating life on Earth or going to war. They just resurrect the dead, calling them ghouls, causing complete chaos. So you've got Vampira, who is another
has the
really,
tiniest waist on the planet.
She does. She's another really interesting one. She predated Elvira, and is like the original vampire goth chick. We're talking like 1940s classic, tapered neck, pale skin. She had a really high opinion of herself. She wasn't paid enough to talk, and so she just kind of drifts through the movie, like completely doesn't say a word.
Just her ominous presence, just roaming in and out of the graveyard.
Yeah, so she does nothing through the whole movie except wander around and pretend tiny waist.
And her very long fingernails.
Yeah, with her, like 1990s secretary fingernails that are like 5 inches long.
Like, how do you wipe with those nails?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That. So she, her act was kind of stolen by Elvira, and I think there was a lawsuit over that. They, obviously didn't like each other.
Yes, but I'd like to point out that Elvira did do it better. I mean,
I agree.
As far as the
Elvira.
charisma goes, it's Elvira all the way.
You know what I like about Elvira versus Vampira? Vampira is like a high-class society maven who decided to be a little edgy, whereas Elvira is like, I was born in a trailer park, but now I'm a goth princess. She has that kind of dirty edge to her that I just love.
Oh, yes. Especially her. Oh, I wish we could watch one of her movies. I would love to watch Mistress of the Dark. That would
Yes, that's such a great movie.
It is.
Yeah. That's a guilty pleasure of mine.
It is mine as well.
Yeah, so, the aliens decide to resurrect the dead, cause complete chaos. and then eventually are defeated in the most bizarrely staged end battle of all time, with just leftover yard sale props
And wicker furniture.
Yeah, with wicker furniture and Radio Shack yard sale items.
Another one of Kenny and I's guilty pleasure. Wicker furniture.
I love when they cut to like what is supposed to be the head alien's control room, and it's literally just a wooden desk and then various electronics devices, like in the most undecorated soundstage you've ever seen. It's amazing.
Yep. Oh, that in going to the Ed Wood thing in the movie Ed Wood, where at one point that's what I thought was going to happen, where Tord Johnson had run into one of the set pieces and like it shifted, and Ed Wood's like, just keep going.
And they left it out.
That was amazing. Yeah.
So Plan 9 from Outer Space, I've got a soft spot for it now that I've seen it. It is just so iconically 1950s. Like every bad trope of 1950s movies, every B movie blunder and just awkward everything is just in this, including, long dialogue that goes nowhere.
That drones on, and you're just like, is there a plan? Oh, get it? Like, what's happening in this scene? Why are they staring at the sky and having a 15-minute session of dialogue that goes nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, it's super gothic and weird. The other hilarious thing that I just loved so much is they didn't even try and mask the fact when they were cutting back and forth between footage that they shot, in real locations and an obvious soundstage that probably measures 5 by 5.
Yeah.
The graveyard set is night all the time, and they'll go from like day footage immediately to the night footage, and it's supposed to be like.
I'm only wondering if he had something in his mind about that, like, oh, look over here, it's so peaceful and it's daytime, and then all of a sudden you go to the graveyard and they're coming and they're bringing the dark with them. I don't know. That's just kind of where I went.
Yeah.
Maybe that, but I could just be like way out of left field with mine, where it was just really badly shot.
But Ed Wood had the people in this film were really his weird and wonderful friends. Like in real life, he surrounded himself with just the strangest people. That now, if you take those same people and you transported them in time and space, it would be the average group of friends in like New York City or San Francisco. Like they're all very weird and different and quirky, in like a fun way. But this is 1950s America, so it makes them all the more outrageous.
Weirder, yes. What I have to say is what I really like about this movie is the reason why I like it so much is because of all the stuff behind it. Like, if I hadn't have watched the Tim Burton Ed Wood movie, I would have never watched Plan 9 ever in my life. No. And because of Tim Burton, I watched it and went, this movie's great. Yeah. It's great because all the stuff that while watching it. So
one of his friends is the psychic Criswell, and I actually love the beginning and ending with him, where he does that "Greetings, my friends. We're all interested in the future."
Yes.
So Criswell, I had to look up who he even is because I didn't even know. At the time that the movie was being made, he was the star of a Channel 13 television series called Criswell Predicts. And back then, there were a lot of psychic personalities that had TV shows, radio shows, where they would basically just, make up stuff. He was super charismatic, though. You can even tell that in the way that he presents himself. So at a time when a lot of psychics were using hucksterism and kind of a confidence trickery, to lead you a little bit with questions in order to predict something as opposed to actually predicting it. They seduce you with that kind of charm and charisma. And the way that he opens the film between his wide eyes looking directly at you, making that contact and what he's saying, you can see how he built that trust with people.
Oh, definitely. I mean, from the character that who portrayed him in Ed Wood as well, he just did just the whole prediction thing, and just the way he presented himself as just this come with me on this on this wonderful journey into whatever the hell you're about to watch. It's kind of like Twilight Zone, whereas the introduction to Twilight Zone was just, it made you want to watch it.
Yep. Yeah, so that was Plan 9 from Outer Space. So did you like it?
I did like it.
Would you watch it again?
No. Or I would fast forward through lots of parts just to get to parts that I wanted to see and giggle at. Because there, it does have those moments of the lots of dialogue, but in a strange, morbid way, I want to hear the dialogue because it's just so bad. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Like, you just kind of morbid curiosity of, oh, look, it's a train wreck. Let's keep watching.
I was just looking at some of the IMDb reviews.
Oh, please tell me you saw the deaf one.
I did. That's the first one that I saw. I was like,
Yes.
Wait, what? I mean,
I read that one and I went, oh, please.
1959. Of course there's no subtitles. I mean, some of these are pretty blunt but good. Like, here's a 10 out of 10. This guy said, this is one of the best worst films of all time. When viewed with the right mindset and probably a lot of alcohol, it never fails to entertain. Poor production values, terrible acting, worse directing, and dialogue that has to be heard to believe. I agree with that.
Yes.
Combined to make a cinematic gem. I completely agree. Here's another one who said, aspiring filmmakers take note. For anyone that wants to make movies, Plan 9 is a must-see. Not for its lush style, great dialogue, fabulous production design, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have any of that. What it does have is poor production design, continuity gaps that you could drive a space shuttle through, and writing that's so bad, it's amazing anyone had the nerve to show it. This is what makes it a must-see.
And somebody please remake that movie. Like, why aren't they taking those and remaking them? Yeah, Seriously. I mean, that's the type of thing you should be remaking, not something that's already got a good gold thing. You know what I mean? Like, take those B movies and have a specific person, like, say, Tim Burton, have him do. But I mean, he's already done one Alien movie, which was amazing. Why not take Plan 9? Yeah, right?
I love that movie.
Yep. I think I had that on my rotation of movies for almost 2 years. It was just such a great movie. And so having like Tim Burton remake Plan 9 from Outer Space, and you know what I mean? Like, take those old B movies and have them do it like in the same context and the same, like, but just better. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, okay. I don't want to be like one of those people where people think I'm like, she just wants remakes. No, I don't. Please don't remake The Goonies. Like, please do a sequel, sure, but don't do a remake of it.
It would have been amazing to redo it when Martin Landau was still alive.
Yes.
Because he did such an amazing job with Lugosi. Yes,
I agree.
Before we move on to definitely my favorite worst film of all time, Deathbed. The flying saucers were just store-bought toys.
Yes.
They were from a 1956 line of toys from manufacturer Paul Lindbergh. And they are so janky in the way that they fly. They are just ridiculous. Wait, you have to see it when it's on screen.
Oh, yes.
Vampira is, I'm going to butcher her name, Mayla Nurmi, Mailanurmi, must be right. She demanded to be a silent role. She did later claim, though, that Ed had given her some dialogue, but she didn't like it, so she just insisted on not saying anything.
Probably for the best.
She is credited, though, as being the TV's first horror host. So she really birthed that genre. Tor Johnson's scars on his face after his character Inspector Play is killed off. His scars kept moving around his face.
Pardon me, production crew? Are we not taking snapshots?
To hell with continuity. Who cares? No one knew who composed the score of the film. In fact, it took 40 years to figure out that the score of the movie was actually assembled. There were composite pieces pieced together from different bits of stock. Gordon Zoller did that, so he created the score of that. I guess historian in the 90s, Paul Mandel, had tracked down almost all of the original recordings from the pieces that they were sampled from in order to make the score for that movie.
Wow.
That's interesting.
And most of the movie had stock footage.
Oh, yeah.
Other than Graveyard and the wicker furniture scene and the spaceship scene.
And all of a sudden, here we are flying over the Pentagon for no reason. Yeah. All right, so that was Plan 9 from Outer Space. And now...
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about, first, before we go into the details, and I'll tell you what the plot of this movie is, because it was so obtuse that I had to look it up.
Okay.
What was your first impression of the 1977 hot mess called Deathbed, the Bed That Eats?
Hair and That's all I got.
Yeah. It was the 70s. There was a lot of hair everywhere.
Yeah. And you edited it, so
I had to take out the naughty
I know
scenes.
you did.
There was a lot of the 70s were a wild time for nudity. It's just like, oh, here's a boob.
Well, they were very repressed in the 60s. They needed to let it all out in the 70s.
I guess. And then we aged into like the extended sex scenes of the 80s, and the 90s came along and we're like, all right, we're not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
We've had
Let's
enough.
just show from the shoulders up if anything's happening.
This is fine. So on Rotten Tomatoes, this actually hasn't been rated by Rotten Tomatoes at all, with probably good reason. The audience score for the movie, however, is 30%.
Huh.
Yeah, this is, wait a minute, what? William Russ. Wait,
I
what?
told you while we were watching it.
I must have
William
missed that.
Russ was in it. Yes, he was Eyebrows. He was the one that had his hands missing.
Oh, damn.
Yes, that was him. I knew I recognized him. I was like, that guy's been in a lot of stuff.
All right, well,
and this
well-known-
must have been like his his first role or something.
I'm sure it must have been. Yeah, William Russ is most well known for American History X. He's been on stage, films, TV, films such as The Border, The Right Stuff, Dead of Winter, The Unholy. A lot of these he did early in his career.
He was on Boy Meets World.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, Maestro, Dead of Winter, Disorganized Crime.
The Right Stuff.
Interesting. Well,
I was
this movie...
as we were watching, I was like, he looks so familiar.
In this movie, he's in a two-piece jeans outfit that has to be seen to believe, with the biggest afro you have ever seen.
You are not skipping out on that unibrow. Please, you are not.
Oh, and the unibrow. Yeah, he had a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. I have seen bits and pieces of this movie over the years when you stumble into like the darkest corners of YouTube.
Or
but I never
really
actually
late night movies.
I've never
really
seen
late night.
This movie, let me paint a picture for you. This movie opens on black. It's just a black screen. And all you hear is eating noises. It sounds like someone eating like a really juicy Macintosh apple. And that's supposed to be the bed, this bed that eats people. Like the opening scene of the film is literally this couple just deciding like, hey, let's go, find this, let's break into this house and do it with, we brought a snack. They brought a little
Bucket of
picnic.
chicken.
They brought some KFC, a bottle of
Couple
wine,
apples.
and a couple apples for afterward. You know, after you do the nasty, you want to.
You get
you
little
want
peckish.
those apples.
Yeah, you get hungry.
The apples are a good palate cleanser.
Agreed. I agree.
That's a good tip. Jesus.
Apples and bananas, great palate cleansers.
And before you get going, there is a little known fact, people. Better than Spanish fly, KFC. I'm telling you, that gets things rolling. That gets
Especially
that boulder.
those mashed potatoes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those mashed potatoes and gravy every single time. It's better than lighting a candle and silk sheets.
Spanish fly.
This holiday season, give her what she really wants.
Chicken. That actually sounds like the beginning of my movie. Give her what she really wants. Chicken.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So that's the opening scene. So then they start, getting things going. And all you see is like the bed slowly closing its curtains. It's this old style Victorian bed, like Scrooge would be sleeping in this bed with the side
I'm going to tell you
curtains.
that mattress did not look comfortable.
It really didn't. It looked like a futon mattress, and it's no wonder that it ate people.
It was angry for being a futon mattress.
It was a first generation IKEA mattress, and it was very disgruntled.
With great woodwork.
So like the bed eats, the bed sucks down the wine, eats the cork, and then just guzzles the wine. And the scene you're just looking at yellow something with bubbles. It looks like urine or Mountain Dew.
We deciphered it was Mountain Dew.
Yeah. So the bed takes down the fried chicken and the 2 apples, and then it pushes everything back up. So you've got this empty bucket of chicken with just bones. I like that it eats people, but it didn't bother to eat the chicken bones. And then puts the bottle back up, the 2 apples back up. Yeah, and then they start.
Such a tiny bed.
It really is. They start getting it on. The curtains close, and then you just hear them screaming and blood dripping from the bed. So the bed had a snag. Wow.
Ah, yeah.
So that's how it opened, and our experience with this film got no less confusing.
No, it did not. How did they get here? How did they get here?
Even if, because we were all talking so loud that it was hard to make out what people were saying, even if we could hear, we still wouldn't have been able to tell what was going on, because this story jumps around in time. All right, let me tell you.
Is that what it was?
That's yes. Like I had to look up what the plot of this movie was. All right. So,
I thought we were looking at a really bad episode of Quantum Leap, but go ahead, go.
It's like the worst fever dream imaginable, and there was no. Yeah, Ziggy didn't show up and be like, "Oh boy." So it came out October 26, 1977, just before Halloween. Long ago, a demon fell in love with a woman and conjured up a bed on which to make love to her. It's very nice. The woman died during the act.
Oh, how even sweeter.
As one does. And in his grief, the demon wept tears of blood, which fell on the bed and caused the bed to come to life. While the demon rests, is that what the person was in the grave? The girl?
Maybe?
I don't know. The bed's evil is contained, but once every 10 years, the demon awakes, giving the bed the power to physically eat human beings. Only one man, an artist identified as Audrey Beardsley, was spared as the bed condemned him to immortality behind a painting where he must forever witness the bed taking victims.
You're speaking of Eric from True Blood.
Yeah. I thought Alexander Skarsgård is just hanging out behind.
So he was the demon,
like watching people get it on the whole movie. We didn't know
that
what
sounds
was
about
going
right
on.
for Eric from True Blood.
Yeah. I mean, no, wouldn't want him watching.
I thought he was like a demon or something, or some sort of witch.
I thought the same thing.
Okay.
So then it opens there, and then the bed passes from owner to owner until the present day. In the first one, that young couple trespass into the building, find the bed, make love on the bed, and the bed devours them. The artist then makes fun of the bed for its stupidity. The bed gets pissed off and destroys most of the house except for the room it's in, which is why the bed starts out in one spot, and then all of a sudden is like in this underground tomb for some reason.
It is making sense now that you're giving me this description.
A movie should never be constructed in such a way that you have to read the plot in order to understand what the hell is going on.
Because now it's all coming to fruition now. Like, it's just, that's why they went to the little,
So then we get to 3 women in a car with, for some reason, sharing longing looks at each other. It was very seductive. 3 women discovered the house that is now completely destroyed. The bed casually eats one of them, reacts to one of the other women by bleeding in agony for reasons that are never explained. The artist realizes that the bed reacts with pain to the woman because she resembles its mother, the woman whose death caused the bed's creation. Elsewhere, the brother of one of the women goes out looking for her. And that's the character with the big afro. That's William Russ.
Oh, well, okay. And yes, I can see that now. How the blonde girl that looked constipated looked like the one that was in the grave. So I'm assuming that the one in the grave, like you said.
Oh, yep, you're right. That would be the mother. Yep, she died. And that must be that gravestone marker that we saw that we didn't understand.
Yes. Wow. That you have to read it to actually...
Like it's all making sense now. So one of the 2 remaining women then sleeps on the bed. She wakes up as the bed begins eating her. She tries to escape. That's the African-American actress that had what looks like ketchup all over her jeans, is like the most unrealistic blood of all time. The bed like snares her in its sheets, drags her back to be eaten hilariously. The last woman left alive unsuccessfully tries to save her. So then the brother comes along, finds the surviving woman, only to have the bed trap them both in this underground room. The brother attempts to rescue the previously eaten woman, and by now she's obviously eaten. He tries to stab the bed. And,
I remember that.
Yeah, the bed eats his hands and like leaves him just with skeleton hands, which looks so fake.
Oh boy.
So then we come to the finale.
I wonder how long he had to hold those underneath his sleeves.
Yeah. Somebody needs to ask William Russ these questions. I have a lot of questions.
So do I. Let's find it.
This movie, by the way, was made for $30,000.
Really?
And I bet most of the budget went into the bed.
Shocking. To the person they sent out that we need this schematics for this bed.
Wait, you are not going to believe the story behind this movie. Like, I'm just telling you the plot so we can catch up here. So now we come to the finale. So the demon that created the bed falls asleep. He ate a lot of people today, which renders the bed powerless and allows the artist to communicate with the woman. He describes a ritual that will destroy the bed. For some reason, he knows it. The woman carries out the ritual, which teleports the bed out of the room and revives the bed's real mother, but at the cost of killing the surviving woman. The bed's mother completes the ritual by having sex with the brother?
I don't remember this. Where was I? Oh, you want to know what?
Oh my god, what? Wait.
I don't remember this.
Wait, we're getting into some dark territory here. So the deceased woman takes over the body of the surviving woman. Is it her brother that she has sex with? If so, that we're opening up a door to hell here.
William Russ's character's sister was, I think, the one that resembled the mother of the bed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. It's all coming back to me now.
So the bed's mother has sex with the brother in this stone circle, and then the bed explodes and dies, and the artist finally passes on. Wow.
Scene. So wow. I'd like to point something out. So I was looking on IMDb where it was saying the goofs of the movie. Now we bypassed this because we were just discussing the whole plot of the movie. But while the gangsters are playing cards on the bed, one fires a gunshot into the bed. The other makes a hand motion with a gun as if he were also firing, but no gunshot sound effects were heard. We couldn't hear that, but there was no sound of the gunshot.
Yeah, there's a scene with Mario and Luigi playing cards in like in what looks like a budget porno when they both get eaten. For some reason, the bed leaks its yellow foam onto the floor and it just eats them that way. It's so weird.
It's the bed's bile is just But now that you've had to verbally tell me the story of the movie, I get it. But would I watch that shit show again? No.
You know what? I wouldn't mind. So now you're going to listen to this because I looked up the backstory because I needed to know more about this hot mess.
Okay.
So George Barry, who made the movie, this is the only movie he ever made, and it's probably for good reason. So George Barry, he's living in the Detroit suburbs. In 1972, he had an interest in film. He decided to make one. So he starts putting together this concept for film. The beginning shots where it's just eating noises over black video. There was supposed to be something in there, but they either lost the footage or couldn't afford to shoot the footage. Yeah.
Wow.
Because the budget was so tight, most of the movie is told in through the dubbed in inner thoughts of the characters.
Inner thoughts? Sorry.
Yeah. The ghost behind the painting is described as Barry as being David Bowie-esque, which I can kind of see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Barry, it's a little wild.
I'm trying to have the same enthusiasm with you for this movie.
Yeah. Jock Brandis was one of the people that worked on the movie Deathbed, and they were friends. Brandis, at the time of 1973, was 26. And one night, Barry just showed up at his door and asked if he wanted to make a movie.
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
Sure, let's do this.
So they couldn't afford, on the budget that they had, to pay union wages. So he, Brandis, and a van full of Canadians snuck over the border. They didn't have work visas. So they literally like went under cover of darkness, snuck over the border from Canada into the United States, bringing with them a human skeleton in tow. And they'd planned this 2-week shoot at a historic Detroit mansion. It turned out that the mansion itself was being rented by a group of Hell's Angels.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and the Hell's Angels in the 70s and early 80s were really nothing to mess around with.
No, they were not. No, they were not.
We're talking dangerous stuff. For whatever reason, the Hell's Angels took a liking to them, so...
They did like weird, eclectic people. So I think...
You can't get any... And plus, it's people having sex on this deathbed. Of course, that's kind of a...
True.
So Brandis's role on the film was to work on special effects. He had $300. So what he did was they had the frame made, which looked really good. The bed itself does look good. He stacked 3 air mattresses, one on top of the other, and fixed it so that when a plug was pulled, the mattresses would deflate, and it would look like the actors were being slowly sucked into the bed.
I can see that now.
Which is ingenious. Like there's one scene where she's like tipping at a 45-degree angle, so the way they did that, kind of looks good. The stomach acid is just glycerin and yellow food coloring, and then they just put bubblers in there. And they went around and they bought every container of yellow food coloring available in the city of Detroit to make this movie.
And then, Ethel's like, I need that yellow food coloring and I can't find any. I'm trying to make a flour cake.
Because it worked so well, the Barry, who put Brandis in the film, Brandis, who did the special effects, plays the priest that gets eaten in that one scene.
Wow.
What gets a little interesting here, so while they're making this movie, they're hanging out with the Hells Angels. As they are going out on the town in Detroit, they're in a whorehouse one night, And
This just gets better and better.
yeah, they went into the whorehouse supposedly to borrow a Gideon Bible. Yeah, they didn't know it was a whorehouse, so they were kicked out onto the street. He was trying to find a Bible for a prop in that film.
Oh, you went to the wrong place.
That was the wrong place.
Unless you found that one converted one. That's just like, oh yeah, sure, I got one right here.
So what makes this wild? It only took 2 weeks to film. They got it done. It would take 4 years to edit the movie to completion. And by the time that was all done, the movie was so bad, and by then so out of date because now we're coming forward to 1977.
4 years.
Yeah,
4 years.
It never. No one cared to pick it up, so it sat on the shelf for decades. What they didn't know is that a pirated copy of the film had made its way through Europe, copied and became a really big cult classic over there. And it wasn't until 2004 that it was finally released on DVD. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense with the whole Europe thing. Back then, they had some pretty strange fucking movies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you look at this movie on the surface, as bad as it is, it's so surreal.
Yes.
It's like a really messed up art house film.
Yes,
like,
I can see that. I can see that.
Like if a student at a university studying cinematography had a little bit of a budget, I feel like this is the kind of artsy-fartsy horror movie that they would put out.
And that would probably be their thesis, which would have gotten them a good grade because it was very, I can see that. But as far as a B movie that I'd want to watch again, it's questionable.
Yeah. Dennis Harvey from Variety wrote, Deathbed is a horror flick destined for some small place in the hearts of psychotronic fans who already treasure such extreme oddities as Blood Freak, not to mention Andy Milligan's entire oeuvre.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone else described it as a whimsical drug-induced nightmare.
And you know what? You said, a fever dream. It
totally is. Yeah.
I feel that is a fever dream right there.
Yeah. So that movie is really something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Emphasis on the something.
Yeah. So that was the second movie that we saw, and wow, we covered a lot of ground in that movie.
Yes, we did. I was a lot of confusion, but until you just read that to me, it now makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I love the random orgy scene where the bed is just in the field for some reason.
Yeah,
and then just like
everybody's just under the sheet.
Yeah, just kicking their like
poke.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like. Everybody was just under there, just moving around.
Yeah, it was like people having seizures underneath the sheets.
Oh wait,
it didn't even look seductive at all. It just looked like
no, it did not.
Around.
But the random scene of the priest being eaten by the bed, I'll have to say that was the best moment for me because just deadpan. He had no reaction. He's just like, I'll just go with it. I'm just gonna get eaten by the bed. No, it just seriously stoned face. Bye.
I do have to say the most impressive scene in the movie is one of the girls that gets killed when the bed takes the cross, starts eating the cross, and then uses it like from underneath her.
Yes.
Saw her friggin' head off.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, what?
And it took forever.
Well,
but just.
We could have shaved off some time there, you can just use an axe.
Yeah. But no, that was good. That part was good too.
Yeah, because I was wincing at that. I was like, oh no. Yeah, so that was Deathbed.
Yeah, that
it is weird that Chad and Simone never showed up at all.
I haven't seen them or heard anybody else but the two of us, so I don't know. That's weird.
Well, I'm gonna go poke around the grounds. For some reason, Chad has this strange Celtic circle in a whispering woods behind the house here.
Oh,
I'm gonna go
okay.
poke around in there.
I'll meet you in a couple minutes.
Well, if you know what, let's split up. If you can take the haunted swamp, where the
Fantastic.
sexy teens were killed.
Yes, I was going to go that way anyway. Yeah, we're good.
Well, you know, you got things to do.
I
So you check there. I'll check that strange whispering Celtic circle, and then we'll hope for the best.
Cool.
Well, this has been Fresh Tomatoes podcast, as hosted by me and Jess here. A little bit about our show. We're in Chad, a Fallout 76 story. It's based on the Fallout 76 video game, but we tell the dark humor, original storytelling stories with a cinematic sound, a lot of humor and interesting, compelling characters. Even if you're not into the video game, I think you'd find the stories fun and interesting in a way that people connect with. And particularly on Halloween, we'll be dropping my really emotional pet project, which is our version of Ray Bradbury's classic tale, Something Wicked This Way Comes, which I've been really looking forward to.
I had a lot of fun doing that.
Wait until you hear this.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
Literally the best episode that we have ever done. It's so good.
Fantastic.
So yeah, if you guys want to check out our show, you can find us at Fallout 76 Podcast, or Chad, a Fallout 76 Stories, available on all podcasting platforms. All right, well, I'm gonna head outside, and I guess we'll end the show here. Let me turn this off. And all right, great. I'll catch up with you later. See ya.
All right.
Well, it's time to bury the kitties out back. Bye, all.